Hey guys, welcome back. I would firstly like to start this YouTube video by saying thank you for those that are watching, that are liking my videos, and to all of you that have subscribed. You guys are amazing. In the last video, I briefly spoke about getting your heel down to the floor. This video is going to be based on 2 weeks post-surgery, so the time frame between surgery and 2 weeks after. That advice still stays the same, so I would certainly recommend getting your heel to the floor and really getting that full extension from your knee. And hopefully, if you're at that point in your surgery, you're feeling good. I sadly had some complications and I was in so much pain. I'll put in a few little pictures in here somewhere. But my leg was extremely bruised. It was so swollen. I was having a significant amount of pain at the time. I couldn't even put my foot on the floor without crying with agony because it was just so swollen. It turns out I had a 15cm hematoma from my kneecap all the way down to like the bottom of my calf. So it was a really, really big hematoma, to the fact that they actually couldn't see it on just one screen. They had to do two so that they could see it. We don't know what caused it really. It may have been the heavy-handed surgeon. It may have been that I was too active too soon. I kept making myself walk quite a bit. So just listen to your body, don't force anything. I'm gonna add some clips into this video for the exercises that I think you should be completing at this point. Obviously, as ever, check with your therapist that these exercises you're okay to do, but they are recommended generally. I'm in England, so the NHS, which is the National Health Service, recommend these exercises, but again, check with your surgeon and your medical health professional people. My knee complications, I had so much bruising in my leg, it literally looked like fake tan, like Saint-Tropez, where's my sponsor? Because seriously, honestly, this shade of tan would be beautiful. I mean, I'm ginger, so the fake tan that I use, I mean, there are other brands available, but like, it looked like the perfect shade. I'll pop it in here. The complications were found because I went to get my stitches removed at the local surgery, and the nurse, she wasn't quite confident in what my leg looked like. And I was like, okay, this is fine. She removed my stitches and then asked me to sit back in the waiting room. Now, normally they remove the stitches and send you home. I was sat in the waiting room with my boyfriend and we were a bit like, what's happening? At this point, we had no concerns, like there was no flags. I just thought this was normal. And then we waited for another doctor, and the nurse and two other doctors were consulting each other about what they think was wrong with my leg. And at this point, I'm like, whoa, I've had knee surgery, but is there something extra wrong? Like, help a girl out here. And within 20 minutes I was accepted into A&E as an emergency case. They thought I had a DVT, which is a deep vein thrombosis, for those that don't know, which is a blood clot. They thought I had one of them in my legs, which is never ideal. Thankfully it wasn't the case, although I was treated as if it was a blood clot because they couldn't see it at the time. So because they couldn't see, because my leg was so swollen, if there was or wasn't a blood clot there, I was actually treated as if there was a blood clot. Moving on, 4 hours later, I had blood tests, obviously to check about the DVT, but I was taking paracetamol every 4 hours, like literally every 4 hours since surgery. So I was taking it, so I would wake up at 7:30, I'd be taking painkillers then because I was in so much pain, and then I'd be doing it every 4 hours, not sleeping, so I'd be taking them at 11:30, then I'd be waking up at 4 AM because I was in so much pain, taking more painkillers. It was paracetamol every 4 hours, but alongside ibuprofen every 6 hours as well. Now, that is not the case. Do not take painkillers and ibuprofen that often. Do not do it. Look at the packets and the recommended dosage. I can't comment on what they are because I can't remember them off my head, but they are not every 4 and every 6 hours like you think they are. When you're awake because you've had knee surgery almost 24 hours of a day because you can't sleep because you're in so much pain, every 4 hours and every 6 hours is not a thing. Do not do it. So I overdosed on medication, and it wasn't an intentional overdose, it was an accident, and I felt awful. It was an accidental overdose, and I had a boxed liver, which is essentially my liver failing because I had taken so many drugs. Unintentionally, it was because I was in so much pain, obviously concerned, but I didn't want to go back to hospital because I didn't want to waste anybody's time. I've got this thing about not wasting anybody's time. I didn't go to hospital. I was taking these over-the-counter tablets, which was fine, like I didn't do anything wrong. I was just taking it too often because I was in so much pain because of the hematoma, which I didn't know about. It all came 360, and I ended up staying in hospital for 2 nights. 3 nights? 3 nights. 4 days? Yeah. 3 nights and 4 days, and I was on a drip the whole time. They were just trying to flush all of the drugs out of my body and control the pain. And because I was bedbound for 4 days and my leg was raised, as it should be when you're laying down, when you just had knee surgery, on the 4th day, honestly, my leg looked so skinny. It was like there was nothing there. Like, it was like no swelling at all. But then the minute that it would go below my heart and back down to normal, it would just balloon again. I did have real troubles with that, and I still to this day have a little bit of problems with water retention in my leg. My stitches were removed and I was in hospital. I was soon to be fixed and then sent home. But rest, ice, compression, elevation will be your best friend forever. Even to this day, rest, ice, compression and elevation gets me through. So some of the exercises, as I've mentioned previously, would be getting the towel under your knee, getting the towel under your ankle. You can see the previous video for those exercises, but they're certainly what I recommend. I'm gonna now talk about some of the exercises that you'll recommend to do, just how to do them, how I found what best worked for me at this point of the knee surgery journey. So the first exercise.
This exercise is known as the hamstring hook. This is where you hook your non-operated leg underneath your operated leg and encourage flexion at your knee joint. Now, I do this gently a few times and I contract for maybe 5 or 6 seconds and then release and go again. This exercise is known as the hamstring slide or glide, whatever you prefer. Laminate floor is perfect to do this one on. You need something that's not going to resist against your knee. I put my resistance band underneath my heel and then encourage extension of the knee joint, focusing on keeping my hips parallel to the floor and really working that hamstring. This exercise is the quad contractor. The aim of this exercise is to lift your heel off the floor as much as possible, encouraging extension of the knee. I hold this for 5 solid seconds, relax and repeat 30 times with breaks as they are needed. This exercise is the leg relaxer. You need to elevate your leg. Books work so well for this. The aim is to allow your leg to fully relax into extension. This can be really uncomfortable, so take your time and do as many or as little as you feel you're able to do without pushing yourself too much. This exercise is a basic step up, and I want you to lead with your operated leg and then step down with your operated leg again. As you can see, in my case it's my right leg, and I'm really focusing on making sure that I'm stable before I move on to the next phase of the action. I would recommend doing 10 reps of 3 sets in the morning and in the evening.
So I really hope that those exercises help you. If you have any questions, please do comment below. And if you haven't had knee surgery but you're just following the journey, youthebomb.com. Hey. And I really would appreciate if you could like and subscribe to my YouTube, because that would be fun. Why not? If you follow my Instagram, that would be fantastic. It is here. And you can follow me on TikTok because I'm hilarious. If you didn't know, I'm really funny. Joking, I'll get so much stick for that. But never mind.